Welcome to Hustle and Pro Season 2, talking sports in Frisco from youth to pro. Now here's your host, Kelly Walker.
Welcome to Hustle and Pro. I've been trying to book today's guest since the very beginning of Hustle and Pro, so I'm very excited to have Megan Carney here. Hi, Megan.
Hi.
Thanks for joining us. So, Megan, you are a McKinney local. You played lacrosse here growing up, but now you play at Syracuse University, and you were in on some of the U19 US Women's lacrosse action. So we're going to talk about that and a couple other things. You ready to jump in?
Yes, let's go.
Okay. Who's your favorite athlete of all time?
Probably in the lacrosse world, Michelle Tumalo, but outside of that, Tom Brady.
Tom Brady. Okay. What's the farthest distance traveled for sports?
Canada.
For this U19 championships we're going to talk about, huh?
That's the farthest I've gone.
Last year. Okay. What about your favorite sports movie?
Definitely Rudy, the Notre Dame one.
Yes, I love Rudy.
What about, have you learned any cool stick tricks over the years of playing lacrosse?
Yes, I've definitely developed a few tricks under my sleeve just from watching the older players and just through social media. But, yep, always working on the stick tricks.
Anything cool that you can describe over a podcast?
Oh, geez. Let's see. It's probably just a different combination of multiple tricks, not just one singular trick. So just, hitting it off the sidewall to around my back, under the legs, over the shoulder, stuff like that.
Very cool. So I didn't mention this off the top, that younger voice you heard during those quick hits was Reese Walker. So my daughter Reese is here joining us. She is a lacrosse player too, so she had some exciting questions for you. Okay, so you went to John Paul II for high school, and there's not, high school lacrosse everywhere here in Texas yet anyway. So it's up to club play to provide that environment for these high school players. So tell us about your club experience here and how it prepared you for your college experience.
Yeah, so basically I started playing club lacrosse in 6th grade. I was fortunate enough to be coached by Molly Ford, who came down to Dallas as soon as I was starting club lacrosse, and she was on the USA team and played at Georgetown. So she was very experienced, knew a lot of people, and brought down a pretty advanced coaching staff with her. So that just helped me get more involved because my mom knew I was going to love her. So she actually tricked me into going to what I thought was just a day camp or a little clinic, but it was actually tryouts for the team because she knew I was going to fall in love with it. So then from there it just took off, and I was lucky to have coaches that was able to help me get recruited and noticed and just get me exposed to a higher level of lacrosse.
So I was wondering, have you always played attack, or did you start off your lacrosse journey with a different position?
So I actually in high school, just because we had a smaller team and it wasn't we weren't that strong of a team yet, I played midi. I also took the draw sometimes, so I have a little experience with that, but I've always wanted or liked attack more. But yeah, I played midi in high school, but club and in college, I moved to attack.
I think that's good I don't know how common that is. That kind of happened to Reese too, but it's probably good to make a more well-rounded player when you have to switch. You can probably see the field differently and adjust and adapt differently with those experiences. Okay, so your sophomore year in high school, you'd already committed to Syracuse, right? So why
Yes.
Syracuse?
So what I said earlier, my favorite lacrosse player, Michelle Tumalo, she first recruited me when she was at Florida, and I went and visited. I loved her. We totally hit it off, had a great bond. But Florida wasn't the school for me. So then she left and went to Syracuse, where she played in college, and recruited me from there. And so that was perfect. I fell in love with the school. I love Gary, and just his style of play that he coaches was the best fit for me. And then academics, they have a great sports marketing school. So I knew that was going to be a good fit, and it helped that Michelle was there. But however, she had left and gone to Oregon by the time I got there. But that was fine because, I still loved Gary. I loved the school as a whole, and just I wanted to get out of the hot weather here in Texas, so it was nice to have a change of climate, and it's beautiful up there.
Yeah, it seems like that's a very popular, I'm sure it's a powerhouse for lacrosse, but for kids around here who play lacrosse, Syracuse is one of those most popular, like, top schools that people want to get up to, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard you say that the college gameplay is faster. So what about the jump from there to international play?
Yeah, so that was definitely a little different because of the rule change. We were playing quarters, and it was 3, 3, and 3, so there weren't as many people on the field, but it was definitely different going from college to international. However, I didn't have a season of college yet because the U.S. team, we played, over the summer. So I did have a year of college, and then I went and played. So the difference was basically there was less people on the field, and the rules were different. So, like, for defense, they couldn't go in the crease or whatever, and then pretty sure we had to, like, stop on the whistle and just the rules with the yellow cards and how those worked. But it's definitely different because there was less people on the field, so we were able to be more spread out. And in college, there was 4 attackers rather than 3.
So how many people less? So you're saying less people on the field at the national team?
Yes. So there was 3 defense, 3 midfielders, and 3 attackers, where in college it's 4, 3, 4.
Gotcha. So you're missing 2 players out there with you.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Which makes a pretty big difference.
Oh, I bet. Okay, so tell me about, I've read that the process, your process of getting to that team, so of you not thinking you made the cut for that U19 women's team, and then obviously you ended up making the cut. So tell me what that was about and how that went down.
Yeah, so it was this summer going into my freshman year of college where I was trying out and going through the trial process. And it was in Baltimore, Maryland. I think it was in June, I want to say. And there was a ton of girls there. There was so many girls there. I knew maybe like 5. And everyone else is all from that area. They've played together, so they all like knew each other. And it was me and 2 of my friends from Texas went up there to try out. And so I got cut. I was injured. I actually ended up having a stress fracture in my back. So when I got to Syracuse in the fall, in August, I had to get looked at because I didn't want to get an MRI during the summer and then have to sit out all of lacrosse for the whole summer because I had the Adrenaline All-American game, I had the Under Armour All-American game, I had my last club tournament with my team, and then I had U.S. tryouts. So I was just going to play through it. I was in a lot of pain, however, so I got cut. I got to Syracuse. The doctors were like, yeah, you have to sit out all fall, which was awful to hear because I've been waiting like for that moment basically to get to college and start playing.
Right.
So then I sat out all fall, had to do like physical therapy and just make like basically my lower body stronger to support my back. So then luckily I got cleared to play in our last fall ball tournament in, I think it was October, the end of October. We played, and it was in Boston, I believe. And we ended up playing Northwestern, who the head coach was a US U19 coach. And I got cleared to play. So that was my, I think, first time playing. And then she saw me play again, reached out to Gary and was like, hey, can you set me up with a phone call with Megan? Like,
wow.
So I ended up talking to her on the phone, and she invited me to come back and try out again, like to continue the tryout process. So then it was, I think, January, in one of their training camps in their spring premiere, I think it was. And we played like Stanford, Japan, England. So we were playing a bunch of games. And then from there, I just continued the tryout process, and luckily I made it.
So I think you started with the summer part of the process. When you didn't think you were on the team, did you think that was kind of it? Like you didn't expect, I mean, my guess is you didn't know you'd be sitting out all fall, but when you came back for that one fall ball tournament, you weren't thinking that game, you were kind of trying to get back on her radar, or were you? Did you know?
No, not at all. I hadn't been thinking that at all because I didn't know that was a thing or possible to bring me back to try out. But, I mean, just playing through the game, I wanted to beat them, obviously, because she had just cut me. But, yeah, no, I never thought I was going to get invited back.
Wow. So with that stress fracture in your back, if you wouldn't have come back at that exact timing, right, for that one last game,
Yeah.
you'd have waited till, I guess, spring ball or whatever started, or January. You wouldn't have gotten in on that at all. You wouldn't have had that national team experience, huh?
No, I think it was everything happens for a reason. I was very lucky that I was able to get clear and play in that last tournament.
That's pretty amazing timing. Is that your most severe injury this far? Or did
Yeah, I haven't hurt or, knock on wood, broken anything else, but just my back, really, the stress fracture.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't sound good. I was going to say, how much pain were you in? But you said over the summer, all those summer games, you definitely could feel it. So it just happened over time?
Yeah, just like overuse, just like shooting a lot and just overworking it, just kind of wore it down. And yeah, it was definitely painful.
Man, I bet. Okay, so fast forward to you actually getting to play in that U19 tournament. So you guys beat everybody that you played. So y'all beat Australia, England, Canada, Wales, and Hong Kong.
Yes.
And I see here that you or that our team outscored the opponents 128-20. That's a pretty big differential. So what did you learn or take away from that experience last year?
Yeah, it's definitely fun just being able to play with girls from all over that were who I had honestly just played against in the college season before the national tournament. But yeah, it's definitely cool playing with everyone from all over that now I will play against in college and still just like have that friendship and that bond. But just being able to go out there and compete, and honestly in the back of my head, I was just like thinking how lucky I was that I was even out there after the whole tryout process. So just like living in the moment basically and just enjoying it all because that's a once in a lifetime experience.
Are any of the girls that were on that team with you that you guys got to come together as a team and celebrate that, were any of them girls that you looked forward to playing with when you were younger?
Yeah, so Caitlin Warsberger was on the team with me, and she was originally committed to Syracuse, so we were always playing the Lake Placid tournament together, and I would go to Florida and hang out with her, and I'd go to her house up in Skinny Atlas on the lake in New York, and we'd hang out there. So I've always been really close with her, and I always looked forward to playing like with her in college. However, she decommitted, is now going to North Carolina, but it was definitely fun being able to play with her on a team because we've always like dreamed of doing that together. And so like it was just a cool experience.
I have a quick question about being a multi-sport athlete. So you played volleyball for high school, right? While you were also playing, obviously, lacrosse. Your main focus was lacrosse. Do you think playing two sports through high school made you a stronger lacrosse player?
Definitely. So it just helps cross training. I don't know if you've heard of that, but just training in a different sport is going to help you carry over. I don't know if volleyball is probably the best cross-training sport for lacrosse, but I also played basketball and soccer when I was younger, which definitely helps. Just having that IQ and being able to see a field and also helps you like not get burnt out. So being able to go from one sport to another helps me take a break and just have fun because I wasn't like that serious about volleyball. So it just gave me an opportunity to have fun and just not always think about lacrosse.
Is there a certain reason why you wear number 22?
So Gary Gate, who's my coach at Syracuse, he is known for wearing 22. And so, however, going to college, I wanted to wear 35 after Michelle Tumlo. And so when I was on a visit up at Syracuse before going there, Gary, we were sitting down, he asked me if I wanted to wear 22. And I was kind of like in shock at first. And I was like, no, like, it's okay. Like, I'll wear 35. And then I realized, like, I can't turn down that number. Like, of course, I'll take 22. So I sent him a text and told him, like, yes, I'd love to wear 22.
That's cool. Okay, I was going to ask you something. I noticed on your Twitter that you are watching like some of the Buccaneers action lately. So I was curious. You answered this earlier, but I was going to ask if you were a Gronk or a Tom Brady fan. So you said earlier you're a Tom Brady fan. How did that come to be? Since you're a Texas girl.
So when I know everyone gives me crap for it. They're like, you're not a Patriots fan. And so when I was younger, one of our neighbors down the street who I grew up with, we were really close with their family, and they were from Boston, so they were big Patriots fans. And I actually played flag football with a bunch of my guy friends when I was younger, and so we were always a Patriots. So just growing up being on that team and growing up like around them and always being with them, I kind of just developed that love for the Patriots. And my dad and I always rooted against the Cowboys, so I was never a Cowboys fan because neither of my parents liked them. So I just stuck with the Patriots. But now he's at Buccaneers, so we'll see.
Are you now? So I'm guessing you're jumping on the Buccaneers bandwagon, right?
So we're family friends with Jarrett Stidham, who he's married. Yeah. He's married to Kennedy Brown. So we're family friends with them. So we have that tie still with the Patriots, I guess. But I don't know. I guess I'll be a Brady and Gronk fan. We'll see.
I think it's cool that he's coming back to team up with them again. I mean, it could be stupid. Like, we'll see. They might both not be able to have a good season, but it's a cool story. It'd be interesting to watch. I can tell you for sure I will watch more Buccaneers games this year than I ever have in the past to see what's going on. Just because it's interesting, right?
Yes.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your time. I know that you, when I said I tried to get you all last year, obviously, from what we just talked about, you've been busy and on the go, playing everywhere. And we were super proud last summer to share the news that you guys won. I think I read that it's definitely like the most impressive U19 women's showing that we've ever had. So that's really exciting. So thank you for taking a few minutes to sit with us today. So we want to say, keep killing it out there. Go Qs. And also to everybody listening, thank you for listening to Hustle and Pro, and subscribe whatever method that you use to listen to podcasts.